It was a policy.
Kia ora everyone. Kia ora. Oh yes. Oh, you're there. Oh, yeah. Am I on?
You're on.
Hey, kia ora tātou. My name is Crispy Stewart. I'm part of the Ray White team here in Rotorua. Really excited to partner with the Kohanga Rakau housing development. We've hosted, this is our second evening, we've hosted a bit of information around this amazing development out of Owhata. We've got a few guests to speak today. We've got Sam and Paige who will come and join us later from ANZ. You'll see some dotted around the room, there's some Ray White representatives, but the key players here is TAF, Jody and Kira, who have been a huge part of bringing this development and partnering with Jason and Daniel through this whole process of getting these out to the market, and really excited. They'll know the details. I'll leave it with them, but I'll hand it over to Chair Jason. A couple of things. Don't forget to eat more. We don't want to take anything away tonight, so make sure we have a clean that table up. There are bathrooms just through that back door over there, and go the All Whites 2 all day. So, Jason, up to you. Sorry, fire rings just go that way.
Kia ora koutou, ko Jason Rogers, tōku ingoa. Hey, first of all, thanks for coming out tonight. It's a bit wet and cold out there, so we appreciate your time that you're giving us to hear about Kohanga Rakau, the story. Just a bit of the background. So behind the Kohanga Rakau housing project is the Owhata 2B and 7 trusts, which are based out at Owhata there. So it's 28 hectares of whenua that has been run as a tree nursery, pine tree nursery. So the trust historically was reliant on the forestry sector, but had 3.5 hectares of the land that wasn't being utilised. So we got approached by the government back in 2021 to look at doing this tenure housing, which is the delivery of social, affordable and open market housing. So we started all the way back then. The big driver behind why we started was the housing crisis that was here in Rotorua back in 2020 and 21. We could see that a lot of our whānau were not in good housing. There was a lot of out-of-town landlords that owned properties here that didn't care for them, so we could see a massive need, to go down this path. Kohanga Rakau itself was our stage 1 project, so that is 93 homes in total, and as a result of us starting that journey, we were asked to take over a second project in Kotu. So there was an Auckland firm that was developing 60 homes over by Waikiri Club, and so we have subsequently taken that over as well midway through last year. So in terms of Kohanga Rakau, probably the key aspect for us, this picture probably shows you what we're trying to create, and we are creating that out there. So we've got 70 houses that have been completed and families that are living out there. I think we were just saying before, we've got about 30 kaumatua that are living out there, which is fantastic. So we've got, at the heart of the village, we've got 22-bed kaumatua units, which is great, brings stability, and then we've got a mixture of individuals and families that are out there. We've built, of the shared ownership product that we're actually going to be talking about tonight, we've built and completed about 4 homes, and then we've got about 16 families coming through the application process, either getting bank approval, board approval, or down with the government getting those docs approved. So in essence, what we like about the shared ownership product is that it's government backed. So there's about 37 providers across New Zealand who have been approved to deliver the shared ownership product. So we were accredited back in June 2024, so it was quite a big process. We weren't looking to do this, but the Crown said to us, hey, we'd like you to consider also delivering the PHO product because we think it'd be good out at Owhata. So we went through the application process. We were pretty much the last one of the 37 to be approved in June of 2024. Well, in the middle of 2024, we're still constructing the development, so we're still building the houses. So we actually didn't have any houses to sell at that stage, so we were still doing development. So we're one of the last ones to come into the market. So we've got 27 shared ownership homes out at Owhata, and then we've got another 10 homes over Te Puke and Golden Sands. The unfortunate thing about us being one of the last is that the government's closing off this program at the end of this year. So unfortunately for us, we've had to up the marketing, hence we asked to partner with Ray White, because we were just we knew that a lot of families were out there who would qualify for this scheme, and we didn't want to lose it. So the way the arrangement works with the government is they've given us a pool of money to co-invest with you as a shared owner, and if we don't deploy that money, we have to give it back and we lose it. So the pressure that these timeframes that we're talking about today is not because we're trying to get a sale, it's because we actually don't want to lose the funding, because we think it's a great opportunity for families to get into home ownership. So if I could describe, Danielle's going to go into a bit more detail, but if I could describe it simply, the shared ownership product is you progressively buy. So you start off with owning 70% on day one, and then because you carry a lower level of mortgage, your mortgage payment should be lower than your rent theoretically. So because you're carrying a lower mortgage, you should be able to save. So that gives you time to build a bit of a base to buy us out. So we own 30%, between 25 and 30% with you. So we're actually co-owners with you. We're a silent partner sitting in behind the scenes. So over time, the idea is for you to buy us out. So you own the house 100%. Just in terms of Auckland related projects, the Housing Foundation run the shared ownership product up there, and their whānau generally buy them out between 6 and 8 years in total. So they run a similar, in fact it's an identical scheme. We've based our scheme off that Auckland Foundation, Housing Foundation model. So it's a really, really great scheme. We do have our, because we're an Owhata Trust, we are not allowed to sell the land. So we've, with the ANZ Bank, with the Westpac Bank, with the Crown, with the lawyers, with the valuers, we've created a 52-year prepaid lease, which we'll talk about in the presentation, but that is completely supported by ANZ Bank and Westpac Bank and Kiwi Bank. So it's tried and tested. It is a product that is going to be rolled out with other Owhata trusts, because legally we can't sell the freehold title, but there are some really good protections in the lease to make sure that this is a good investment for you and your whānau. And at the end of the day, we want families to get into home ownership because they've done studies, all this stability that brings, better health outcomes for the family, better outcomes for tamariki for school, if you're going to the same school. So there's a huge amount of benefit that comes from home ownership. Also, they've looked at studies over people's lives of, they've looked at those that rent and those that own houses, and if you look at it over the life of a whānau, the difference in their wealth or asset base is anything from 800,000 to 2.5 million difference. So at the end of your life, you end up being in a better position with owning a whare. So I'm chair and CEO of our group, and I'm really proud of our project out at Owhata. It's really wonderful, going out there. We've got the nursery in front, so you've got all the vineyards that are planted. It's like Rotorua's version of the French vineyards. So it's really nice spot. So tonight we've got Danielle, who's going to get up and say a few words, and we're actually going to ask Sam at some point to also do a bit of a corridor, but this evening is designed to actually take you through what this project is all about. I think it's really complex. We've got about 5 agreements that we have to go through with you, but we link arms with you. So it is really, really complex, and it's we understand that it's going to take time for you to get your head around it. So this evening's designed to help give you a bit more information about why we think it's a good product, and also some of the protections that are there, and also just a bit about our culture. So kia ora, thank you for coming.
Kia ora whānau, my name's Danielle. I am the Operations and Sales Manager. So if you come on this journey with me, with us, you'll be working with me and Sheriff and Jodie and team. So we'll just go through a little bit of a slideshow. So obviously tonight I'm talking about the Progressive Home Ownership Program and about the vision of our development. The main thing I want people to take away today is about the kaupapa, and what we are about is creating safe, warm, affordable homes for whānau, and also that long-term security of home ownership. And I'll just walk you through how we do it. So obviously this project started with the vision of our trustees to create affordable homes for whānau, who whakapapa to the whenua and our wider community. At the moment we have opened it up to the wider Rotorua community. So whakapapa, while it's important to us, it's not the number one priority at this stage. So, and another really important part of this development is creating the stability and security of tenure for families. We also are really proud that we have our kaumātua at the centre of our community, and so it's not just about houses, it's about building a thriving whānau-centred community. So we are a approved provider and shared ownership program. So what this means is we can help whānau move from renting into home ownership through a shared ownership approach. The PHO fund is interest-free, over 15, and it's available for 15 years at interest-free, and this helps make home ownership more achievable for our whānau. Also under this model, as Jason mentioned earlier, it's about whānau will own about 70 to 75%, and we will have a ownership of about 20 to 25. And then you will eventually go by ourselves. So your ownership will increase to 100% over that 15 years. So, and as Jason also said, it takes about 7 to 8 years. We're expecting whānau to be able to buy ourselves. We also have been working alongside two major banks, and this is really important because it gives whānau the access to mainstream lending while also still receiving support from the PHO model. We work with the banks to guide you through the processes of what you need, documents you need, and connect them, connect you actually with the right people. So, and later Sam will have a chat. Did you want to have a chat now, Sam? Do you want to come up and have a chat while we got you on the slide? Yeah, sorry.
Firstly, thanks to Ray White and the team, all bunch of that as well, for giving us the opportunity to come along and speak. We are really privileged, to work alongside yourselves on this project. I know that when David Harris and Gary, when you two spoke a couple of years ago, I can definitely vouch that he was fully behind this initiative and did absolutely everything he could behind the scenes to get this rolling as fast as he could. And at times it felt like it was two steps forward, one step forward, two steps back, because we were making the policy as we went along this journey, which is quite unheard of. Generally we hold right back until all the policies are tested and true and tried before we go out to market with these types of things. So thank you for the patience with yourselves and the first 4 whānau members that went through the journey with us, because it was quite a
Long journey.
Learning. I love that word. So on that, I just thought we would say, we do acknowledge how tough it is to get into that first home, buy your first home. So that's why this initiative is fantastic. Like Danielle said, you own 70% of the property up front.
PHO. So I'll work with you once we've got everything across the line to sort of get you into a position to be able to buy out their PHO or the other as fast as possible. So if we can inflate those repayments, obviously without having too much of a negative impact on your everyday cash flow, we will work to do that for you all as well there. So the key things really, I think, is don't be scared, firstly, to approach the likes of Danielle, the Ray White team, because I think that's the hardest part of it all, to be fair, because once you've done that, you'll find that it's quite easy, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here, but talking to someone here earlier, they were saying they just didn't think they'd be able to make this become a reality, and then after about 3 days, I think they mentioned we had the pre-approval with them already ready to go, so it is that easy. One of the things I will say as well is, yeah, I do work for a bank, but I'm not scary, just like everybody else, you know, like I came from, you know, a very humble background as well, so I know what it's like going through this journey to get from where I was to where I am today, so don't be scared. I'm a much relaxed person than me, I like things, so absolutely no stress at all. In terms of what I know initiatives that we're prepared to do to help, you know, we're looking to try and get out to the local marae, as an example, to help with like financial literacy courses. So please, if you have anything as well that you are wanting us to get in behind to help, not just yourselves, but the wider whānau as well, to get ahead, reach out to us with those with these ideas, because we will do whatever we can to support that. I'm quite lucky, if I'm being honest. By the time I get the application, Danielle's done, and the team have done a lot of the hard work already. So the key thing I'll say is just be honest about everything, because once it gets to my side, it makes the process a lot easier. Don't be ashamed of anything, don't be scared to talk about it, because life happens. Again, we acknowledge that it's a journey. Sometimes things don't always go the way how we want it to be, but it's how do we look at it where we are today and what can we do differently to try and get us ahead. And that's one of those key things as well that we're definitely you know, happy to get on board with. And it's, don't be afraid of it if it's not now but later chat. I think that's also a huge thing to take on board, because there's nothing wrong with setting a goal to try and achieve 2 years down the track. You know, 2 years flies so fast before you know it. We'll get there, okay? So don't be afraid to reach out. And I really do, and I think I endorse this comment, but we see this as a springboard opportunity to try and get out into the general market, and that's the opportunity for yourself to own 100% of the house at some point. So from my perspective, don't be afraid to ask if you have any questions. We've got a couple of other team members at the back as well now, but we're definitely keen to have you on as well. So yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
So let's talk about how it works. So the first step, as Sam said, don't be afraid. Come and talk to somebody in our team. We do everything to make sure that your whānau will qualify for the PHO program. We do have some conditions, obviously, so with the PHO funding. So you have to have an income of no more than $150,000. If it's a multi-generational household, we can go up to $187,000. The minimum deposit is at least 5%. So approximately for a 3-bed, it's $30,000 to $32,000, and for a 4-bed, we're looking at $40,000. Okay, and we don't have any 3-beds available. Yeah. So for the 4 beds, we're looking at a $40,000 deposit, so minimum. And you can use your KiwiSaver or savings. Sometimes you might not have enough savings or KiwiSaver, so your whānau may gift you some funds, so that could help as well. So you do have to be a first home owner or a second chancer, and the home must be your main residence for the first 3 years. And the primary applicant must be in full-time employment or be self-employed. So those are the 4 main criteria to make sure that we can put you through the program. And then part of our role is supporting you through budgeting, helping you prepare your application. We look at the responsibilities about being a homeowner. So yes, you may get your mortgage, but then you've got to look at, like, I've got my mortgage payment, what else do I need to budget for? So we talk you through all that. The team also, before we even send you to the bank, we will do a financial health check to make sure that it's sustainable for you. We will not put you through to the banks if we don't think you'll be able to sustain the tenancy. So we don't want you to get yourself into financial difficulty by getting a mortgage. So we do a lot of checks and processes. It will need to be board approved as well once I've done my checks. I gather all the documents that the bank are wanting. So it'll be proof of income, any outstanding loans that you have. I collect all that information, IDs, proof of Kiwi saver. We get a nice little pack together, and then I send it off to the bank. And 95% of the time, I won't send you to the bank unless I know that they are gonna give you that tick of approval to go through. Any questions about that process? Jodie? So a second chancer is somebody that has owned a home, but their circumstances have changed, that they're now classed as a first home owner. So that would be through a separation, for example, and they've sold a family home. But I can work, if you do think you fall under that category, I can have a chat to you around that. So we go on to the next one. So once you've been approved, we will then help you through the next process. This is about buying out the remaining share, and the bank will have a conversation with you how you do that. A lot of whānau say to us, can I pay $50 a week off the shared, the PHO, whereas we would rather you put that on your mortgage so you create more equity and you can pay us off quicker. So that Sam or somebody at Westpac will have a conversation about how that works. We are looking between 7 to 10 years that you'll be able to pay us back and then own your home 100%. Throughout this whole journey, we do financial check-ins where needed. We will do, once you're in your home, we will do 6 monthly checkups. We will, just focus on your stability and supporting you and that long-term success for your home ownership. So I'll skip this page because it talks about a 3-bedroom. So how it works. So when you look at a 4-bed house, you've got a lease purchase price, the land and the lease, the build and the lease, which is $792,000. The build price is $546,000. The land lease price is $247,000. So obviously that gives you the total of $793,000. We will own 20% of the build, and you will own 73%. You would pay the 5% deposit is $40,000, close to $40,000. Your mortgage that you're buying from the bank is $540,000, which is estimated at $668 a week. And that's based on 5% over 30 years. might be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, depending on the interest rates. Right. This is where above my pay grade, so I'll get Jason in to talk about the lease structure.
Yeah, couple. So just stepping back in terms of our strategy with this, the whole project is geared around affordability. So that started right with the design at the front end. So if you look at the master plan for Owhata Kohanga Rakau, we've got 93 whare out there, and then we've got 14 typologies or 14 house types that we've stuck to. So we went to the builders and we designed with the architects along with the builders only 14 plans. Those 14 plans, if you look at the shared ownership, we've got a 3-bed and a 4-bed, which are 2 basic plans. So that meant if we take standard plans to the builders, they were involved with the design with us when we went to get the price from them, because they're using a production build methodology by building the same house over and over again. The external looks different because we've mixed up the cladding and colours. That brought the price right down. So we're able to get them to bring their margin down, bring their prelim and general cost down, and we did open book with the builders to form the price. So they actually showed us their costings, we negotiated those costings, and as a result of standard designs, we brought the price right down. The other piece to address the affordability was this lease structure. So if you look around Rotorua at the moment, if you're going to go up to some of the new developments, you're paying for a freehold section around about $400,000 for a freehold section. These leases are valued at $247,000, so a significant difference, below what the freehold value is. So that brings the house and land package price significantly down. So if you were going to build on another development, you're probably up at that $1 million mark. So the lease is really where we unlocked a lot of value for whānau. And the way that the lease is structured is that the bank said to us, look, we'll support a lease structure provided there's one payment. So that's why we call it a 52-year prepaid lease. So that one cash sum is paid up front, and that's it for the rest of the 52-year lease. The way the valuers looked at it is they said, well, look, we value the 52-year lease based on a percentage discount to the freehold value. In our case, they said around about 80% of the freehold value is what that 52-year lease is worth. When it comes to the end of the 52 years, what we built into the lease is that you only pay 20% of the market value at the time to get another 52 years to give you 104 years. Okay, so that's how the lease structure works. There are some big protections that were built in here. What happens if you have a change of circumstance and you have to move out of town, relocate, and you want to sell? What we've built into the lease is that when you go to sell, we give you a new 52-year lease to offer to the buyer. Okay, so that new 52-year lease is issued to the buyer to protect your value. If you were going to go and sell your whare after 20 years and there's only 30 years left on the lease, no one's going to want to buy it at that level, or they'll reduce the valuation. So when you go and sell, you sell with the new 52-year lease. The valuers have got a mechanism that they use to value it, and we share the capital gain to make sure that you do get that 52-year lease. If the future trustees don't give you that 52-year lease when you sell, we have to buy you out as though there was a 52-year lease in place. So there's a guarantee from the housing entity, which is quite substantial. Okay, so those are some pretty critical protections that are built into the lease. I have to say that in the design with this, working with ANZ and also Westpac, going through their approval processes, we dealt with all their lawyers, their credit committees and all their teams, and they really put us through our paces. So we've ended up with this lease product. It's a registered leasehold interest that goes in with LINs, just like a freehold property. It's registered with LINs, and it's fully supported by the bank. So the banks will lend against that up to, I think, 80% of the house and land package value. So MHUD or the Crown, when they looked at our lease product, again, we had to deal with their lawyers, and they brought in valuers, they brought in a whole heap of team members, So it's been robustly tested between the government and banks, and so it's a good investment product in terms of there are some good mechanisms in there to protect you. So that's pretty much at a high level what the lease interest is. So again, just recapping, you've got 52-year lease. It's one payment. That one payment is critical because the banks support it. The issues with the leases around Rotorua, they have rent reviews and they pay annual rents, and so the rents go up. Here you don't get that, you just have one payment up front. So this is not like the leases around Rotorua, the region. The valuers again look at this they value the 52-year prepaid lease at 80% of the freehold value. If you're going to go buy a freehold section, the way the lease works, at the end of the 52 years, if you want to extend for another 52 years, your kids can pay 20% of the freehold value. So you can look at it over 104 years, you're paying 100% of the freehold value. So we think that's a good arrangement. And then again, protections if you go to sell, mechanisms so that when you go and, if circumstances change, if you want to sell, we give a new 52-year lease to the buyer. So that protects value here. And again, if the new 52-year lease is not given to the buyer, we have a buyout provision in here which penalises us. If we don't give you that 52-year lease when you sell, we have to buy the house and the lease from you as though that lease was in place. So it's pretty strong protections, and some people, there's some people out there that think that we've gone a bit too far with that last provision, a buyout, but from our perspective, you're putting your life savings into this, so we want to make sure that your investment is protected. Yes. Yeah.
It's not at the price that you pay for the
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so the valuers will value based on the valuation at the time in the future, if that happens. So I think, again, so coming back to that strategy around affordability, you'll see that we're using standard typologies. So those standard plans then get priced by the builders because they're building. We've got two preferred builders, Penny Homes and Flower Day Homes, because they're building the same houses over and over and again, obviously different claddings. We get the price benefit from that. They've done an open book process with us to bring the price down. So that's one element around house design. The second element around affordability is this lease structure that drags the price down. Okay. So it's complex. It is complex. So it's taken us a long time developing it. So
and we do recommend a lawyer for whānau, and she understands the lease structure, so she'll be able to explain it, so you know that your interests are protected.
May I ask a question?
yeah, fine, yeah.
I'm interested, the Owhata Trust
Yes.
owns the land
Yes.
on behalf of, in terms of 52-year lease, and if you're thinking ahead 150 years or generations,
Yeah.
and you have to go in every 52 years to renew, Owhata Trust representation changes, eh?
Yeah, totally.
So, what time is the Owhata Trust
Into this agreement.
in the,
Yeah, really good question. So the way we've structured this, the Ahu Whenua trusts across New Zealand have to follow the Tū Te Whenua Act, and it's very clear around alienation. In this case, what we have done is created limited partnerships. So there's a limited liability partnership that runs the development. That LP has a lease arrangement in place with the trust. And so what we've done is we've built in some really strong protections in that limited liability partnership to make sure that the only influence the trust has is around either signing off on a new lease to the buyer, and if they don't sign off on that new lease, the limited liability partnership buys you out.
oh, that's,
Yeah. And the limited liability partnership is a big entity now. So as I mentioned at the start, we're managing 140 properties across the portfolio. So it's a big entity. It's got a lot of financial grunt.
so each Owhata Trust is a part of the LLP?
Yes. So in this the Owhata one, it's only the 2B trust. Yeah.
what does the Owhata Kohanga Rakau community look like? So this is the development. You'll see where the blue is, that is where all our kaumātua live. So there's 20 two-bedroom units there. The white space in front, that's a community park. The green and the purple, they're all our rental properties that are managed by our team. And then the yellow is showing the houses that are available. And we've got a few more sold signs that we need to put on there. So the development is much more than individual homes. Our wider vision includes the park, housing for kaumātua, the mixed tenure rentals that we have. We are going to be putting in a community hub, and we are also looking at a marakai. We do have a village committee that helps run waimanga for the whānau, any whānau days that we have, any community events. So we're looking to create almost like a modern day papakainga out at Owhata. So, and this is just a few images of what's currently available. So this is the 4-bed. This one is intergenerational friendly, so there's a bedroom downstairs if you're living with somebody that needs accessible and a bathroom, and then you've got the 3 bedrooms upstairs. Skip past those. If you go on our website, you'll be able to see a lot of the 4 beds that are available. We do have some that just have all living downstairs, but the majority is for that intergenerational living, so you can have accessible downstairs. Any pato? That's us. Jason, do you want to say?
Yeah, I just, only thing to add to Danielle's presentation is that there are quite a few agreements that sit in behind this if you were to go ahead. There's a sale and purchase agreement for the lease that is put in place. Then we have a shared ownership agreement, which is quite a complex document. So there's quite a and then there's the mortgage agreements that you got to sign. So there's quite a bundle of documents, yeah, and bill contract on top of that, yeah. So there's a number of agreements.
With the multi-generation or this papakainga living thing, who sets the values of the for the community? So like, does the papakainga committee sort of say these are what you need, kind of something that you need to agree to live by to live in this community, or everyone's freehold, or everyone just gets along because we get along? Or
so we do have a kaupapa, and we do try and live by the po that the trustees have thing. So when you do move in, we will explain our po to you. We'll explain the kaupapa.
And you kind of have to tick the box, I'll agree. Or just...
Well, I think if anybody coming into our development kind of want that kind of living, so that's something that they would aspire to or
mould into quite well. Anyway.
Mould into quite well, and yeah, it is a great little community. You know, I love going out there. Instead of doing work, we get invited for cups of tea. Yeah. So yeah, and then we're down at the village a lot. We're hoping to put our offices down there, so like we'll always be around. We're always just a phone call away, and with our tenancies, our rentals that we run there. So yeah, we're really heavily involved.
And with those rentals, they have to agree to it, sort of
definitely.
Yeah,
and you can run the place.
Totally. There's a strong sense of community within the village, and everyone looks out for each other. It's a really great environment down there. We actually have obviously formal lease agreements, tenancy agreements, but we also have like a handbook that sets out expectations, and we're very close with families that need support. We'll sit alongside them in there, but it's having a lot of kaumātua in there brings that stability and settledness. But it is a very peaceful place, I'd say. Out there, it's really, really peaceful.
Right, do we want to We're really lucky tonight. We do have a couple that have just got their back treatment. So they are wanting, do you want to come up and say how easy it was, the process? How great the team are?
We're part of the way through the process of actually getting into one of the 3 bedrooms. We just received our pre-approval through ANZ Bank. It started with it started through Tart. I saw his Instagram video and I was like, I'm pretty sure I recognise that guy. And I watched more and I turned to her. I was in the other room. I turned to her. We could probably do this. And we eventually came to an information evening, and just the clarity and kind of how inspired everyone involved was to kind of create this positive environment for everybody. We're mid-20s, and in this current economic climate, you're not really sure whether or not you ever will own a home, especially as young as we are. So trying to get your foot in the door and be a part of something that isn't something bigger than yourself, because at the end of the day, it ends up being a community. And what am I going to rent for the rest of my life? And that's honestly, that was the reality. And we then came through and had a meeting with Roy White, Jody, and they were so clear at the expectations, what we needed to do. They made everything so easy.
So did you gave us a
We tried to.
Very good. They're relying to us.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
When we had started kind of putting together all of our financial stuff and then put it forward to Ray White, kind of their pre-approval before it even went to Danielle. How supportive they were, and they kind of reinforced it was a realistic thing to do. And then it went to Danielle, and then we heard back from her about being approved by the trust itself. And then it went to Sam, and Sam was so fast, I think it was like 3 days for us to hear back. Where it went from us literally sitting there praying, I hope we get approved, to, oh my God, this is real now. And the support didn't stop there. It wasn't like we've got your money now, that's it. It was how can we help you through the rest of this process? So now we're having to meet with the builders and the legal team and that sort of thing. The wraparound support's been incredible. Going from 2 young people that I don't know how to buy a house. Yeah, we don't know how to buy a house.
You're not financially literate, so you don't have to know.
Don't worry, you will be soon.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning, but yeah, not necessarily having the understanding hasn't been a barrier. It's almost been a positive because of how supportive everybody at every stage of the journey so far has been. I'll be happy to come back once we actually get a sign off on that aspect, but so far it's been incredible. Not just how fast everything's moved, because obviously it's going to be an individual basis for everybody, but the wraparound support, like
sometimes I turn my notifications off for my emails because it gets a bit much because I feel like I've just finished reading one and there's another. She's texting me while I'm at work and I'm 30 k's out of town on a farm and I can't read this financial agreement right now. But that's okay. Like you can be busy, you can have full-time employment the way that we do, and they just make it work because at the end of the day it's for you and it's to get your foot in the door. I mean we've made a couple of trips out to the village and it's like you hear the horror stories about leasehold land and buying in these areas and we've been there a lot of time, we've been there during the day and it's a different sort of reality. You can see the community focus in that area. I'm just kind of stoked to be a part of it, and then obviously this opportunity to be here because at our current rate it'll probably be another 5-10 years before we can get 20% down and go somewhere else and own the land. I mean even if you were to build new it'd cost you $1 million and we don't have that sort of money. So the opportunity is there. It's just more getting over your nerves, kind of like we were realising it is a reality, and then we kind of sealed the deal after going to an information evening and then going and meeting with the Ray White girls, and that was like, wow, this could be real. And then once they kind of, quite literally in the middle of our meeting with the girls from Ray White, they just randomly called Danielle. This was like 6 o'clock at night, 6:30 at night, and she just answered the phone. Like it was no big deal. It's outside of her work hours. She just answered the phone, answered the question. It was just so straightforward, and then even going from Danielle to Sam, it's just been so easy because as soon as you get all your information away, he's trying to make it work for you instead of kind of predatory feeling that you get from other institutions and that sort of thing and other banks, whereas this team, they want to make it work for you, they want to get you in there, and you can kind of feel that vibe from the get-go, even through an email, as weird as that sounds. I was kind of happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've said everything.
Yeah.
I guess, like for me, this is quite a big thing. I've never lived in a house that I've owned. I've always been renting. I spent many years in emergency housing as well. So it's actually a long, and it's a lot of hard work to get to where I am now. And kind of the thing with this is like, it's more scary to think you could be renting your whole life than possibly owning a home. So that's why this is a great opportunity. Mine is on fire.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess to kind of expand on that, like, we've had very different upbringings, but it was still the same sort of idea of, you work with people and they've been renting since they were fresh out of high school and they're in their 30s now, because with the, I'm sorry, but like to refer to like my grandparents who they owned their first home in their early 20s, and with just because of how much, whether it's inflation or the markets, how things have doubled or quadrupled, and now I think it's something like 13 times the average income, depending on where you want to buy. And how are you supposed to pay rent, pay all your bills, and save enough to get into one of these places? So to just even have the opportunity of being able to put that 5% down and kind of get your skin in the game, and you can leverage that to go somewhere else, or you can stay for 104 years. if you're stoked that you can, it's like,
Well said.
gotta do my due diligence. But like there's kind of so many positives about it. Like you stay there and you're in this community that's Kohanga focused, and then you've got the wraparound support for the families, and then you're solo parents, and you've got couples, and you know, people don't want to bring up their kids in a rental. Like some people our age, we don't have kids, but I mean, like the idea of renting my whole life and then also wanting kids, it's scary because you've got no real security. You can have the best landlord in the world, and then your rent goes up by $150, and you're screwed. You're supposed to save. So to have the idea of something being fixed in place, obviously interest will apply. But something fixed in place, it's not like you're going to get booted. It's a new build. You've got all these guarantees in place, and it's yours. That's kind of the main thing for us, is that stability, and the idea that it really could be real. We're only in the pre-approval process, but I mean, even the builders, I mean, like Penny Homes got onto it so fast. Like I think it was like 6 hours between Danielle sending it away. It was literally the next morning. It's crazy how fast everything's moved, and obviously I don't really want to put that forward like everything is going to be crazy fast, because it's going to be case by case. But it's more the frequency of the interaction with everybody, like with Ray White's covering their end of the deal, Danielle's doing the hard yards, and then Sam's smashing it out as fast as he can to get everybody in the door. I don't know, it's been pretty amazing, honestly, to go from it being like a pipe dream, like, it'd be amazing to own a home before we're 30, to like, well, we could own a home before we're 30.
Before Christmas. Moving in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say, because I don't want to speak more about a process that we haven't finished yet, but so far it's been incredible.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, anybody have any other questions for either Jason and I or the team?
There you go, we've got a great process. So probably next steps, what we did last time and offered to do again after the session, if you would like to stay on to talk about the next steps, we've got application forms. I think they're part of the pack. So that's the first step. If you're wanting to get further information, let's do that. And I'm happy to. There's no other part-time. Don't be afraid. What I like about what we've just heard is just having the courage to go down this path. Like buying your first home throughout your life is a big deal. It's a big step. So I just want to commend you two, and I'm really awesome to hear the support you're getting from the Ray White team and Danielle on our side, and the bank as well. So you know, that's testament to the people that we've got involved and our partners to make it a good journey. And that's our goal.
I'd like to ask, so this development, is this going to be going throughout the whole of New Zealand, perhaps? Are the iwi and Hapu looking at doing something similar?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's really hard for Ahu Whenua Trusts to deliver housing on the whenua because of the restrictions around lease and that. And I think what's special about Owhata Kohanga Rakau is that it's a great example of what can be delivered with those that are got a great sense of purpose and want to